Все, що було нажито, скинула нараз. У спадок онукові хати у хуторі, де потрібу дрібноти, меблі і матрас. Ракабілі паті у трухлявій хаті, етнотериторію треба розгребсти. Все, що заважало, геть повикидали. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Ай, ба-ба-ба-ба-ба-ба-ба. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Я не стара чи не граба. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Як вертіти, чим штовхати. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Всі меблі, як меблі, а ця досі в хаті. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, ні сюди. Гей-гей-гей-гей, на-на-га. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Часу мало, вже смеркає. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Ні водою, ні вогнем. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Це, мабуть, оберіг талісман чи тотем. Та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Цілий день це диво, так і неможливо виперти назовні, як ти не крути, тобі стартує нова мода. Навколо тумби, що не влазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить ні туди, та ні сюди. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба. Та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба, та бабина тумба не пролазить. Та бабина тумба не пролазить.
And the wild and crazy Otvin Ta from Ukraine and a song called Baba na Tumba, Granny's Outpost. Добрий вечір і вітаю вас всіх, шановні радіослухачі, на радіопрограму «Наш Холос» радіо українського коріння, котра подається вам, як звичайно, на багатомовній радіостанції AM 1320 CHMB у місті Ванкувері і по мережі PCJ Радіо міжнародному. При мікрофоні Павліна Макварі дякую, що рішили перебути зі мною наступну годину. Hello there and welcome to Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio, coming to you here on AM 1320 CHMB Vancouver and in international syndication on PCJ Radio International. I'm your host, Paulette Demchik Macquarie, Pokrinske Pavlina. Thank you so much for joining me. We've got a great program for you today on a theme of Mother's Day, and so we'll be honoring mothers and grandmothers. And to that end, we have Victor's vignettes and Baba's sayings as well. We've got a book review, a BC author who wrote the story of her grandmother told to her by her mother. We've also got Ukrainian Jewish heritage and part 3 of our series on famous Ukrainian Jews depicted on the currency of Ukraine and Israel. So stay tuned for all of that. We've also got our usual proverb of the week, other items of interest, and great Ukrainian music, all on a Mother's Day theme. So coming up next, Sonia from the United States with Bila Menamate, Mama Spanked Me.
krutom shtopi ane stoyala Smolatin re krutom shtopi ane stoyala Smolatin re krutom Stoyala Aż kury zapile na dveri vodu lala Szczoby ne sklepile na dveri vodu lala Szczoby ne sklepile Potila щоб мати не почула, щоб не сварила, щоб мати не почула, щоб не сварила. А мати ще не спала. Все чисто чула на мене, не сварила. Сама така я була, на мене не сварила. Сама така я була.
Посіяла баба конопель, ой ти конопель, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, ой ти конопель, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, бей-бей, конопель, ой ти конопель. Як туди повадись, як туди повадись, як туди повадись, журавель, ой та журавель. Журавель, бей-бей, журавель, бей-бей, журавель, бей-бей, журавель, ой той журавель. Я ж тебе впіймаю, я ж тебе впіймаю, я ж тебе впіймаю, журавля, ой той журавля. Журавля, бля, бля, журавля, бля, бля, журавля, бля, бля, журавля, ой той журавля. Журавля, бля, бля, журавля, бля, бля, журавля, бля, бля, журавля, ой той журавля. Я ж тебе в кліточку, я ж тебе в кліточку, я ж тебе в кліточку посадю, ой той посадю. Посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, ой той посадю. Посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, ой той посадю. Посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, дю-дю, посадю, ой той посадю.
Hello, добрий день. My name is Serhiy Kaznady in Toronto, Canada, and I am pleased to narrate Victor's vignettes, stories about life in Soviet and post-Soviet Ukraine. These stories were written by Viktor Sergeyev, who lives in Mykolaiv, Ukraine. Victor worked as freelance technical translator from English, but now has multiple sclerosis, which makes speaking difficult for him. But he finds great joy and a creative outlet in writing and sharing his stories online and here on Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio. You can find Victor's original transcripts along with his commentary at his blog, Vignettes, Life in Ukraine. Links and audio files at nashholos.com. Baba is what I called my granny on my father's side, or sometimes just simply Ba. My Baba was an amazing woman. Her folk wisdom and wit still inspire me to this day, even though I didn't really even know her. I was only 2 years old when she died, so there were times growing up when I wondered if I invented her myself. But she definitely did exist. I know this because throughout my childhood years, my mom was in the habit of prefacing folk sayings with, "As your Baba said." As a rule, in Ukrainian the sayings rhymed and made great sense. Here are a few examples. Вміла готувати, та не вміла подавати. Good cooking, but poor presentation. Дешева рибка, погана юшка. Cheap fish makes bad soup. Не так сталося, як гадалося. Appearances can be deceiving. Що швидко робиться, то криве родиться. Haste makes waste. В чужих руках завше більший шматок. The neighbor's grass is always greener. За дурною головою і ногам нема спокою. A foolish head creates restless legs. Дай Боже нашому теляті вовка з'їсти. Please, Lord, allow our calf to eat a wolf. Не вчи рибу плавати. Do not teach a fish to swim. Дальше очі, дальше серце. Out of sight, out of mind. Дурень думкою багатіє. A foolish man creates wealth only in his mind. As a child, I was very proud to have such an astute and wise granny. As I grew older, of course, I realized that she was not in fact the actual author of these remarkable sayings. Still, Ukrainian proverbs always remind me of my granny, so the habit of adding, "as my Baba said," will last forever. I am Serhiy Kaznady in Toronto, Canada. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Victor's Vignettes, stories from the life of Viktor Sergeyev in Mykolaiv, Ukraine. You can find Viktor's original transcripts and commentary at his blog, Vignettes, Life in Ukraine. For audio archives and links, visit www.nashholos.com. So until next time, do побачення!
Пішла мама до пана.
And a couple more songs about Baba. That was Lyonok from Ukraine and Poїхала Baba в ліс, which translates as Baba or Granny went into the forest. And before Victor's vignette, you heard from Chetamshena from Montreal and Posíala Baba Konopel, Granny planted hemp.
Ой, казала мені мати, та й приказувала, щоб я хлопців у садочок не принаджувала. Ой, мамо, 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 не принаджувала. Ой, мамо, мамо, не принаджувала. Посилала мене мати до криниченьки, піди, доню, та принеси ми водиченьки. Ой, мамо, 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 та й водиченьки. Ой, мамо, мамо, та й водиченьки. Ждала, ждала мене мати, не діждалася, а я з милим при керниці цілувалася. Ой, мамо, 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 цілувалася. Ой, мамо, мамо, цілувалася.
Бабусю рідненька, ти все добре знаєш, яке в мене горе, ти певно вгадаєш, яке в мене горе, ти певно вгадаєш, лиш очі заплющу, ох, не ж ти, нене, десь разу візьметься козак біля мене, десь разу візьметься козак біля мене. Дай зілля, бабусю, та ще й опівночі, то може козак той не лізтиме в очі, ні серденько, доню, цього не злічити, така твоя доля, настав час любити, така твоя доля, настав час любити.
And beloved Ukrainian-American singer, the late Kvitka Sisek, and her two songs about Mama and Baba, perfect for Mother's Day. Up next, Christian Tesson, and song to remind us of the sad reality of many mothers in today's Ukraine.
Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, I have a question for you. Don't you know that my country is called Ukraine and our colors are yellow and blue? Yellow for the grain fields to feed our people, blue for the endless sky. And we don't need new colors, we don't need new flags. there is no reason to die. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, what are you doing here? Nobody wants your soldiers around and missiles in the air. Hey, Mr. Putin, see the mamas of young dead soldiers cry. Stop telling the world you never sent them, 'cause crying mamas don't lie. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, I have a question for you. Don't you know that my country is called Ukraine and our colors are yellow and blue? Yellow for the grain fields to feed our people, blue for the endless sky. And we don't need new colors, we don't need new flags. There is no reason to die. Hey, Mr. Putin, we send you an angel to make you see. Playing with fire is not a game while sitting on TNT. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, this country is our land. You are welcome if you come sometime as a guest and a good friend. Until then, Mr. Putin, the message is clear. This is a message for you. Don't you know that my country is called Ukraine and our colors are yellow and blue? Hey, Mr. Putin, see the mamas of young dead soldiers cry. Stop telling the world you never sent them, 'cause crying mamas don't lie. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, I have a question for you. Don't you know that my country is called Ukraine and our colors are yellow and blue? Yellow for the grain fields to feed our people, blue for the endless sky. And we don't need new colors, we don't need new flags. There is no reason to die. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, we didn't start the fight. We love our Russian brothers and sisters all day and all night. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, you got to understand. The world, Mr. Putin, is watching you, and this is our land. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, we didn't start the fight. We love our Russian brothers and sisters all day and all night. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, you got to understand. The world, Mr. Putin, is watching you, and this is our land. Hey, Mr. Putin, hey, Mr. Putin, I have a question for you. Don't you know that my country is called Ukraine and our colors are yellow and blue? Yellow for the grain fields to feed our people, blue for the endless sky. And we don't need new colors, we don't need new flags. There is no reason to die.
mother of mine, tell me why you weren't sleeping, why you woke me to gaze at the stars up above. Did you know I was leaving? Tell me why. Was that why you were grieving? Was the cloth that you gave me a sign of your love? Did you know I was leaving? Tell me why. Was that why you were grieving? Was the cloth that you gave me goodbye and a sign of your love? In my dreams I still see there's a blossoming garden and a meadow so green with the birds full of song. And your smile never leaves me through your tears. You had said you believed me when I said I must go, but I wouldn't be long. And your smile never leaves me through your tears. You had said you believed me. Now I live in a faraway land and I know I was wrong. On this cloth I still gaze as my fate is unfolding. You still whisper to me through the grass and the trees. Though your heart was so broken, you insisted on making this token of your motherly love so important to me. Though your heart was so broken, you insisted on giving this token of your motherly love, though you knew what was going to be.
Stepan Pasichnik, otherwise known as Ludwig, from London, England, and an English-language rendition of that most beloved Ukrainian song in tribute of Mama, and that was Ridna Mati Moya, My Beloved Mother.
This is CHMB, AM 1320, Vancouver.
Up next, the Churchman sisters, Olesya and Andriana, with Lebedyi Materinstva, Swans of Motherhood.
Виростеш ти, сину, вирушиш в дорогу, виростуть з тобою приспані тривоги, мандрувати, очі материнські і білява хата. І якщо впадеш ти на чужому полі, прийдуть з України верби і тополі, стануть над тобою, листям затріпочуть, тугою прощання душу залоскочуть, стануть над тобою, листям затріпочуть, тугою прощання душу залоскочуть. Можна вибрать друга і по духу брата, лиш не можна сину матір вибирати. Можна все на світі вибирати сину, вибрати не можна тільки батьківщину. Можна все на світі вибирати сину, вибрати не можна тільки батьківщину.
And now for a look at Ukraine's rich Jewish heritage, then and now, brought to you by the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter based in Toronto, Ontario. In the last two episodes of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage, we learned that several Jews from Ukrainian territories have been awarded one of Israel's highest honors, their portraits depicted on the state's banknotes and coins, and that Ukraine has returned the favor. In Episode 1, the focus was on the respective histories of the currencies of Israel and Ukraine. In Episode 2, we introduced 4 prominent Jews on Israel's currency who were born in Ukraine. The poet Chaim Neman Bialik, who is considered Israel's national poet, Volodymyr Ze'ev Jabotinsky, whose legacy includes the Beitar youth movement and the Likud party, Levi Eshkol, who built the foundation of Israel's modern infrastructure, as well as the army that won the Six-Day War, and Golda Meir, Israel's most famous female politician. Today, 4 more natives of Ukraine on Israel's currency. Moshe Sharett, Israel's second prime minister, was born in 1894 in Kherson. His family immigrated to Ottoman Palestine in 1906, then to Jaffa in 1910. The family became one of the founding families of Tel Aviv. After Israel's proclamation of independence, Moshe Sharett changed his surname to Chertok. Like the majority of the founding fathers of Israel, Moshe Chertok devoted his life to helping the Jews gain statehood. During the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, he was foreign minister for the Provisional Government of Israel. For 2 years, 1954 and 1955, he served as Prime Minister of the State of Israel. Chertok is not considered one of the country's most successful prime ministers. Nevertheless, due to his fluency in 8 languages, formidable negotiating skills, and personal charisma, this native of Kherson is regarded as the founder of Israeli diplomacy. In 1999, the Bank of Israel started issuing 20 Israeli new shekel banknotes featuring Moshe Sheret or Shurtak. They are currently still in circulation. The renowned Israeli writer and Nobel Prize laureate Shmuel Yosef Agnon was born in 1888 in the town of Buchach in the Austro-Hungarian Empire in what is today the Ternopil Oblast of Ukraine. Growing up, Yiddish was the language of the house in his family home, and Hebrew the language of the religious books he studied. He was also fluent in Ukrainian. Several of his short stories have Ukrainian themes. Agnon began writing Yiddish and Hebrew poems in childhood and was already being published by the time he was a teenager. He then turned to short stories and novels, written initially in Yiddish. They documented the shtetl world of his youth and a traditional way of life that would not last. In 1907, Agnon emigrated to Palestine. There he embraced Zionism and a more secular lifestyle and wrote in Hebrew. Buchach, however, had a place in his literary work for the rest of his life. The feeling was mutual. In recent years, the Agnon Literary Center was established in Buchach. In 1966, Agnon was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. He was the first Hebrew-language writer to win the award. His novel, A Guest for the Night, is based on a visit Agnon made in 1930 to Buchach. It was released in September 1939, the month Nazi Germany invaded Poland, an eerie and tragically prophetic irony of timing. Shmuel Yosef Agnon appears on the 50 Israeli new shekel banknote, which the Bank of Israel started issuing in 1999. They are currently still in circulation. The second president of Israel, Yitzhak Ben-Zvi, was born Isaac Shizhim-Shalevich in Poltava in 1884. He studied at the Poltava Gymnasium and Kiev University. In the Poltava of the early 1900s, Ben-Zvi engaged in the same kind of activities as his contemporary Jabotinsky in Odessa. He built up the Jewish political movement and organized anti-pogrom defense forces. He immigrated to Palestine in 1907, settling in Jaffa. In 1908, he helped found HaShomer, a self-defense organization for Jewish agricultural settlements. In 1909, in Jerusalem, he founded Palestine's first Hebrew high school. In 1915, Ben-Zvi was exiled from Palestine by the Turks. He traveled to the United States, where, with David Ben-Gurion, he helped found a Zionist pioneer youth organization and the Jewish Legion, which fought alongside the Allies during World War I. He and Ben-Gurion later also founded the Mapai Party, which became a leading political force in Israel. After his return to Palestine, Ben-Zvi helped create the Jewish National Council, which represented 90% of the Jewish community in the British Mandate in Palestine from 1920 to 1948. Ben-Zvi became chairman of the council in 1931 and president in 1944. Ben-Zvi was one of the signatories to Israel's Declaration of Independence on May 14, 1948. The following year, he was elected to the Knesset. He became president of Israel in 1952, a position he held until his death in 1963. He was also a noted scholar of Middle Eastern history and archaeology. Ben-Zvi is depicted on the 100 Israeli new shekel banknote, which the Bank of Israel began issuing in 1999. They are currently still in circulation. The renowned Hebrew poet Saul Chernychovsky was born in 1875 in the village of Mikhalivka, now in Zaporizhia Oblast in Ukraine. He grew up in a religious home and attended a modern Hebrew school. At age 14, he was sent to Odessa to further his education. He studied medicine in Heidelberg and completed his medical studies in Lausanne in 1905. He also studied and became fluent in several European languages. Chernychovsky began writing poems in his childhood and later translated into Hebrew classics ranging from the Epic of Gilgamesh to Byron. He published his first poems in Odessa, where he studied from 1890 to 1892 and became active in Zionist circles. Living in Odessa in the early 20th century and writing poetry in Hebrew, Chernychovsky inevitably became acquainted with Chaim Nahman Bialik. Like Bialik, Chernychovsky moved from Soviet Odessa to Berlin and then to Palestine, with a brief time spent in the United States. The 50 Israeli new shekel banknotes depict Saul Chernychovsky. The Bank of Israel started issuing these banknotes in 2014. They are currently still in circulation. Several religious figures have criticized this decision of the Bank of Israel. A top Sephardi rabbi ruled recently that religious people should not look at the 50 shekel banknote, which carries the image of Saul Chernychovsky, because the poet was married to a devout and pious Christian woman. Nonetheless, Chernychovsky is considered one of modern Hebrew's greatest poets, and his image remains on the banknotes. More information about natives of Ukraine depicted on Israeli currency, as well as photos and illustrations, can be found at the website of the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter, in Ukrainian and in English translation. In the next edition of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage, prominent Jewish figures depicted on Ukraine's currency. I'm Pavlina, producer and host of Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage. Until next time, Shalom. Ukrainian Jewish Heritage is brought to you by the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter, based in Toronto, Ontario. To find out more about their work, visit their website and follow them on Facebook and Twitter. Transcripts and audio files of this and earlier broadcasts of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage are available at their website, ukrainianjewishencounter.org, as well as at the Nash Holos website, www.nashholos.com.
Моя старенька, люба моя мамо, коли б дорогу знала ти сюди, пішла б одна глибокими снігами шукать мої заметені сліди. Полярну ніч і холод краю комі, ти все тучі перемогла, та жаль тобі, дороги незнайомі, крім тих, що є круг нашого села. Моя ти рідна, не сумуй, не треба, і не розпитуй в цій краї доріг. Я, може, сам ще повернусь до тебе, коли розтане цей холодний сніг, і на твої вже тремтячі руки після розлуки Yad shalom schilus, ne plach matuse, od bidi rozpuki. Ja povernus, skoro povernus, ne plach matuse, od vidi rozpuki. Ja povernus, skoro povernus. Skoro povernus.
From Montreal, that was Privit with Mamo.
Thanks to the foresight and generosity of its donors, the Shevchenko Foundation has been investing in the future of the Ukrainian-Canadian community for over 50 years. Since 1963, the Shevchenko Foundation has been funding initiatives that strengthen our Ukrainian-Canadian identity and enhance our Ukrainian-Canadian cultural heritage. These include fine and performing arts and arts groups, museums, cultural centers, education, as well as authors, journalists, and the Ukrainian-Canadian media, including this program. The foundation strives to become the premier not-for-profit foundation in Canada, which acknowledges the Ukrainian-Canadian community as a fundamental component of Canadian society. Nash Holos listeners are encouraged to support this vision through continued donations into the future. To apply for grants, make a donation, or for more information, visit ShevchenkoFoundation.com.
Welcome to Knižka Corner, book reviews by Myra Junik, Ukrainian stories in English.
In this edition of Knižka Corner, we will be discussing Diana Stivan's novel, Sunflowers Under Fire. Sunflowers Under Fire tells the epic story of Diana Stivan's grandmother, who lived in Ukraine during the years 1915 to 1928. Enduring World War I, a civil war, and great personal hardship, Lukia not only survives, but becomes a resilient heroine. She asked nothing of life except the means to feed and shelter her growing family. As the novel begins, it is August the 5th, 1915, and Lukia Marech delivers her 8th child alone at the farmhouse in the village of Kiverchi in Volhynia. She names the new baby Eudokia and prays that she will be strong. Lukia has already lost 2 babies to illness. When her husband Gregory returns, he announces that he has joined the Tsar's army to fight for his native Ukraine. Lukia is appalled and angry as he leaves her with 5 children and a newborn. She tells Gregory that the Tsar needs Ukrainians to do his dirty work. Well, I spit on the Tsar. We're nothing to him. As the war between Austria and Russia escalates, the villagers of Kiverchi are sent away to safety. At first, Lukia and her 6 children are supposed to go to Siberia, but through Gregory's intervention, they are sent to a much warmer refugee camp in the Caucasus. All around her, on the train and in the countryside, there were thousands of families like hers, headed by women traveling to places far from home and far from the men they loved. What was to become of them all? Lukia and her family spend a difficult few years in the Caucasus refugee camp. She survives by bartering and using her sewing skills to purchase extra food. Her resilience is severely tested as her family survives hunger, grave illness, and social isolation. When the war ends, the family comes back to a destroyed farm. Her husband returns, but suffers from post-traumatic stress syndrome. Although the family slowly rebuilds, their losses multiply. with tragic deaths, unbearable losses, and impossible choices. Readers will learn a great deal about Ukrainian culture and history in Sunflowers Under Fire. There are lengthy descriptions of Ukrainian traditions at Easter and Christmas, as well as details about marriage ceremonies, Ukrainian folk dancing, and songs. Lukia finds herself embroiled in major historical events. The Tsar's daughter, Olga Nikolaevna, appears as a nurse who saves Eudokia's life. Shortly afterwards, Lukia learns that the entire family of the Tsar has been massacred by the Bolsheviks. Lukia is approached to become a member of the Bolsheviks at one point, but she refuses. Her family becomes involved in the short-lived declaration of Ukrainian independence. She is also part of the Ukrainian emigration to Canada. All of these events make her a participant and an observer of the difficult history of Ukraine in the years 1915 to 1928. Sunflowers Under Fire is based on the life of Diana Stevan's grandmother in Ukraine. She dedicates the book to my mother Eudokia Kluchuk, named Mazuret, a natural-born storyteller. Lukia's story is an unforgettable historical saga about a strong and resourceful woman. Her resilience and courage in the face of incredible obstacles shows the strength of her character. She keeps going no matter what she faces: typhus, death, exile, hunger, and loneliness. It is a book which is not easy to read at times, but it will definitely live in the reader's imagination long after the last page. Diana Stevan has worked as a family therapist, professional actor, and freelance writer-broadcaster for the CBC. She has written 2 novels, A Cry from the Deep and The Rubber Fence. She has 2 daughters and lives with her husband in West Vancouver, British Columbia. Sunflowers Under Fire is available at Chapters Indigo and Amazon.
Thanks, Myra. Join us again soon for another edition of Kanishka Corner, book reviews by Myra Junik, here on Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio. Boy Band from Edmonton with Mom's Foxtrot. You've been listening to Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio, our flagship show in Vancouver here on AM 1320 CHMB and in international syndication on PCJ Radio International. In between broadcasts, please visit us online at www.nashholos.com for transcripts, archived audio files, and links to the podcast and information about the show. Не ми вже скінчили нашу програму, вже час додому сказати до побачення, але перед тим я хочу залишити вас такими словами мудрості. Хто в матері поради шукає, той усе щасливий буває. And our proverb of the week translates as, a mother's advice is bound to bring good fortune. Well, with that, we've come to the end of our program, so one last song on a Mother's Day theme. Stephen Chwak and his Cymbala students with Doroha Moja Mama, My Dearest Mother. I'm Pavlina. On behalf of all of us here at Nash Holos and AM 1320, thanks for listening and Dobranich! Nash Holos now has a Patreon site, and I hope as a listener you'll consider supporting the show with a donation there. Nash Holos is not funded by government and has no corporate financing, so as little as $1 a month will make a huge difference. Your money will be put to good use to help cover the myriad costs of keeping a show like this online and on the air. So please check out our Patreon page. There are links everywhere on the Nash Holos website, www.nashholos.com, or just go to patreon.com and search for Nash Holos. Щиро дякую.